Greetings everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's YouTube video is going to feature me back in my New Mexico. Yes, the lovely lady New Mexico, and I'm going to basically do one of the things that I do best in my New Mexico, and that's kick ass and take names and cause high amounts of damage to the enemy team. As the battle gets started here, it's standard battle mode, so there are only 2 bases to capture. And my team has 2 destroyers on the team, and both of them are pink. But that's not really going to matter, because both of these destroyers are actually going to do something important a little bit later in the game. I've already taken shots off at this Kirov up here, who's managed to hide himself behind an island pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch focus to other ships. But we'll see more of that Kirov in a few minutes. Both teams have 2 aircraft carriers right off the bat. So there are going to be a lot of planes to deal with, and a lot of torpedoes, and a lot of dive bombers. Friendly cruiser there, he stopped for some reason, especially seeing those aircraft coming in, and opted to stay standing still, and well, that's cost him quite a bit, as he just let those enemy aircraft carriers wreck his ship with torpedoes. There's the enemy Kirov who's popped out from behind the island. I've got all my guns already pointing in this direction. Turn just a little bit to get on bear. Can I nail him? Come on. Where are those shots? There they are. Double Citadel. First blood. No more cruiser. Doing that kind of massive hit never really gets old when you're in a battleship. But it gets really old if you're playing cruisers. Enemy Leander up there is popping smokescreen, but he's not actually slowing down to utilize his smokescreen. So, as I'm waiting for my shots to reload here, you see that I'm not leading him very much because, well, I thought he was going to try and hide in his smoke. As it turns out, that's not going to be the case. Instead, he's going full speed ahead, and so my shots end up missing him, just a little bit, hitting them there on the stern. Much like the Kirov before, I am going to utilize this island here in this channel to just kind of sit myself back and drop off detectability. As long as I have friendly ships that are forward there, they're going to detect things for me, and I'm going to be able to just get shots out there and see what I can hit. We have an enemy Texas, or New York up there, who's sailing along broadside. He is at extreme range, but you know, the New Mexico has got pretty good accuracy when you aim them well. So there's a nice big ol' hit on that New York, and he's gonna think twice about maybe sailing broadside on for a little bit. Managed to avoid most of the shots coming in there from the enemy Warspite, who's back over there. And that's mostly because of my positioning behind this island. That Warspite's got to try and drop those shots in, and because of RNGesus and dispersion, some of those shots might end up hitting that island, or he's going to have to aim them a little bit high and only hit my superstructure. But that Warspite is also sailing broadside on, so I'm going to try and get shots out at him, and maybe I can punish him. I do manage to get a penetration, but I don't actually manage to cause any damage. I think this is one of those bugged things in the game. It's still there, though the developers did finally fix one of the key long-time bugs that's been bothering me since, well, the alpha test, and that's been the smoke screens. They did finally fix that consumable, but they still have this bug where you'll get a penetration and no damage. So what is it? Did it bounce? Did it ricochet? Did it break apart? I don't know. Dodged the torpedoes that were coming in there from the enemy destroyer, and got another huge hit on that New York, who is still sailing broadside. No citadels, though. Kind of hard to citadel the New York at this kind of range, though it's not entirely impossible. And as long as he continues to sail broadside onto me, I'm going to continue to put rounds in his general direction. I have more enemy torpedo bombers coming in, so I do have to pay attention to those, and the enemy aircraft carrier is actually hiding back over in that direction. And if he hasn't popped up yet, we'll see him soon enough. But take a look at where the friendly destroyers are. They're all the way back over by the enemy base now, which gives us an advantage. The teams are pretty equal at 2 ships lost on both sides right now. But this is going to change. If you'll notice, the enemy team has ships pushing back towards the channel to our base. And that's going to be very important here very shortly, as their only destroyer is back up behind that island and is closing in on our aircraft carrier. More shots out at that New York, and I've caused a significant amount of damage to him, but again, still no citadels. The enemy Warspite is trying to take shots at me, but even though he's got 15-inch guns, he's not really being as effective as he could be because I'm pretty well angled to him. And so long as I remain fairly angled, he's not going to be able to do as much damage as he'd like to. Shots out there, big ol' hit on the Warspite, no citadels, didn't quite kill him, and that's a little bit disappointing. If you look up there, our friendly Congo is extremely low health. The question is he going to be able to kill that Warspite before the Warspite kills him? Or is that New York going to get the killing shot? Surprisingly enough, he manages to avoid shots just straddling him, so he's still alive. Is he going to kill secure that Warspite? He does manage to do it. Well, somebody manages to kill secure that Warspite. But he's going to get taken out by the enemy New York as I get shots out on that New York. And that New York takes a substantial amount of damage. Now, I'm contemplating what to do here, and I'm looking at the situation, and I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and get turned around. I'm going to risk giving myself a broadside to both the ships that are off to the side of me and to the ships back behind me here. But I've also got to deal with aircraft coming in. So I'm kind of screwed if I do and screwed if I don't. I want to keep my guns pointed generally this direction because there's the enemy ships up there that are pushing into our base. If you'll notice though, the enemy team did manage to take out our carrier, and there's the enemy carrier back over there, but we have our two destroyers headed that direction, so they are going to deal with them. Now I used the sinking hull of the friendly ship to block most of those torpedoes. Still end up taking one, but it was on the torpedo bulge, so that didn't end up causing any flooding damage, which is always a good thing. Now I'm in a close range brawl with a Bayern. And if you're familiar with the German battleships, you'll know that they've got that turtleback armor. They're harder to deal with, but that's not entirely true. If you handle it right, you can usually end up wrecking the German battleships because those guys, people who play them, tend to get overconfident with their turtleback armor, which means if you aim for the bow, your 14-inch guns will just sit there and penetrate and penetrate and penetrate. Simultaneously, you're going to continue to try to goad them into shooting that belt armor and watching most of their shots bounce. It's also important to note that you have more shots. Enemy Cleveland there, up, he has taken a huge hit from friendly ships back there, so I'm going to try and finish him off. Can I do it? I mean, he's incredibly low health, and the angle's pretty good. Yes. Get a citadel on that Cleveland and finish him off. Enemy Bayern is pushing into our base, and he'll be capturing shortly. But there are other ships that are up there as well. There's an enemy destroyer. Their only enemy destroyer is pretty low health. I try to get shots off before he disappears behind that island, but it's not going to be the case, as the island's going to block my shots. He's a little bit quicker than I had anticipated. Enemy Königsberg up there is pretty low health as well. And since I don't really have a shot on the Bayern right now, I'm going to go ahead and try and shoot at him when I get all my guns reloaded. He is maneuvering hard, so I might hit him, I might not. With any luck, I'll be able to hit him, maybe Citadel, and finish him off. I do hit him, just a ricochet though. That's really disappointing on a tier 5 cruiser when dealing with battleship guns. Better shots out there do manage to do a reasonable amount of damage, but not enough to kill him. But that's alright, he is low enough health. I do have some confidence that my friendly team is going to be able to take him out and take out the enemy Bayern in there. As my shots are just about ready, I see those shots coming in there, and they do manage to take out that Nuremberg. So I don't get the kill on him. A little disappointing. Same way, not getting the kill on the New York and not getting the kill on the Warspite. Because at the end of this battle, I'm going to have a lot of kills. But not enough for a Kraken. Dealing with more torpedo bombers coming in, the enemy team has only got one aircraft carrier left, and he's actually back up behind our base. Don't quite torpedo beats that and take one on the bow. That's going to cause flooding. And now, looking at the situation, I've got a full-strength New Mexico. Full HP New Mexico sitting in front of me, but he's sitting broadside on, and he is stock. And he is reversing, which means he's effectively sitting there. Enemy team is now down to just 3 ships. And my team has the massive advantage because we still have both of our destroyers left. And even though I'm going into this engagement basically half health, you're going to see here that it's all about angling when dealing with battleships. So this battleship, this New Mexico, he is broadside onto me. Now, I'm not going to get any citadels on him, and that's really disappointing. As you can see, there's my Confederate medal for causing massive amounts of damage. But you can see here, as I fired off my rear turrets, I'm turning back in, but I'm not turning completely bow on, because I want him to shoot at the side of my ship. I want him to try and shoot at my belt armor. And as you can see, as his shots are coming in there, and he's doing one shot at a time. In this case, you really need to do full salvos rather than one at a time. Otherwise, you're just not going to get the dispersion to work in your favor. But I'm goading him into shooting my belt armor, and as a result of that, most of his shots are bouncing or doing very minimal damage. Now, he's going to get reasonable hits on me here and there, but for the most part, not any damage. Remember, when I started this engagement, I only had half my health, and he was full strength. He's still broadside onto me, though, and he's just finally decided to start moving forward. More shots out there, not enough to kill him, a little disappointed. Continuing my turn, getting my rear guns on turret, managed to finish him off with my guns. Take more dive bombers in there from the enemy carrier, and I'm just shooting them down. I'm pretty much wrecking them at this point. He's a tier 5 Japanese carrier, so he doesn't have a lot of planes left. And he's the only ship left on his team to deal with all these enemies. And we know he's back over there. I get my scout fighter up here. Hopefully I can spot him with the scout fighter, because that's going to give an extra few kilometers of detection for me. And given the nature of the map here, as you can see with the spotter up, I have pretty much total gun range over every aspect of this map. That's why it's nice to be top tier in a battleship. So I know he's back over here. I'm going to go ahead and sail back over that way. We were capping for a little bit, but the destroyer decides, screw it, no cap, kill all. And you know what? In this case, that works out fine, as we have a massive points advantage. And there, the enemy CV has popped up. I try and get my guns lined up here. They are reloaded. They are all pointing in that direction. Anyway, so get shots out there. Come on, big hits. Citadels, nope, all over pins. Not enough to kill him outright. And he disappears. Very sneaky carrier. But going back to the battleship situation, that enemy New Mexico could have made his life so much better, done more damage, and made my life a lot more difficult if he'd simply angled his ship. But, oh well. Kill for me, and I'm on 3 kills with a high caliber Confederate. Devastating strike, and of course a first blood at this point. Unfortunately, only enemy ship left. Even if I kill him, not enough to get a Kraken, because I didn't kill the Warspite, I didn't kill the New York, and I didn't kill the Nuremberg. Oh well. But you can probably already guess that this battle is going to end with this carrier being my final victim. He is finally trying to move. He doesn't have any aircraft left. I've shot them all down. Final shots out there. Come on. Citadel. No more carrier. And there, at the end, Confederate First Blood Dreadnought, devastating strike, and high caliber. 186,000 damage done. Almost 450,000 credits earned. And 7,000 XP. 2,200 free XP there earned. Top of the team for XP earned, no surprise there. I think I'm double the next nearest guy on my team at something like 2,400 base XP earned in the game. Mind you, this is tier 6 maximum battle, so if you're anything below a tier 7 maximum battle, earning this kind of base XP, pretty unheard of. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. And if you'd like to help support me and my channel, I encourage you to do so by visiting my Patreon and considering donating there. If you'd like to watch me play World of Warships and other games live, you can do so by following my Twitch channel. And if you've got a replay World of Warships that you'd like to send me to be reviewed on my channel or displayed in a compilation video, you can do so by sending it to my email, PMing me a link via YouTube, or messaging me the link on Facebook. You can find all of those links in the video description down below, and as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.